Welcome to Victoria's Nirvana with your host, Victoria Lynn Ravenwood, where it's all about evolving your mind, being creative, and daring to live an enlightened life.
Hello. Today I'd like to talk to you about wrapping up 2018 and getting ready for a great 2019. We'll talk about writing down goals, getting over negativity bias, and creating a goal box. So one of the first things I'd like you to do in review 2018. Most of the time when we look back at the year, we tend to look at a lot of the negative stuff that happened and resolve to do a great year the coming year and make everything better. But very often we've had experiences that are very positive in our previous year, and we just haven't taken the time to savor them, to write them down, to acknowledge them, to pat ourselves on the back. We just tend to have this negativity bias, as it's called, where our brains have evolved to see things that are negative because it's sort of a survival mechanism. Dr. Rick Hanson wrote about it in his book about building a happier brain, that our nervous system has been evolving for 600 million years, and our ancestors had to make critical decisions many times a day to approach a reward or avoid a hazard. Basically, go after a carrot or duck a coming stick or tiger. So we started to evolve this survival mechanism to see the bad things that were coming and bad things that were happening and learn how to avoid them. Because as Dr. Hansen says, if you fail to avoid a stick or a tiger today, there's no more carrots forever. So compared to carrots, sticks usually have more urgency and impact on our life. Because pursuing a reward is great and being positive to pursue it, but if you're not alive to pursue that reward, then it doesn't matter. So we've developed over thousands of years this negativity bias to help us be afraid and see all the bad things and learn from all the negativity out there so we can survive. So what we need to do instead is, ideally every month, take stock and acknowledge all the good things and positive things that have happened. Because in this modern day and age, negativity bias doesn't really serve us anymore and is kind of useless. So it's good to, when you review the year, to look back and see maybe where there are some things that you could have done better, but also acknowledge all the wonderful things that happened, even seemingly small, just little things and big things, just anything that came up in any month. Try to review every month as the year goes by. But definitely at the end of the year, you try and find at least 5 things that went really well, no matter how small, for the year. And start acknowledging that. Because then you're also training your mind to start seeing good things and to start wanting to create more good things. If you keep looking for the bad things and complaining and being in that mindset and that energy, then your mind is going to go to work creating more bad things. So you want to acknowledge the good things as they happen, and you want to make a year as part of your yearly review to look back and see all the wonderful things that have happened and start building a positivity bias as best you can. And that helps you to get some momentum into the coming year to have more positivity and get your mind set at looking for positive things and trying to create positive things. And then that can change some of your behavior as well and create a cycle of creating more positive things. So it's important to look back over the year, first of all, and you can see where you need some improvement, but also look back to see what great things you have done. Then you want to brainstorm what goals and resolutions you'd like to set for 2019. And you want to make sure that you're picking goals that you can control. Sometimes we set goals for ourselves that are just so out of our control, or they involve the agreement of other people, and you just cannot control that kind of stuff. That's why they say a lot in manifesting that you shouldn't put somebody else's name into your manifesting. You should just leave it open for the universe to bring the right people to you for whatever it is you're trying to manifest, rather than trying to focus on specific people. You need to try and make your goals as under your control as possible, or pick goals that are under your control, not just achievable and measurable, which is important too, but something that you have some control over. So brainstorm a bunch of goals that you'd like to achieve in the coming year, and throw in a big, crazy, audacious one just to see if, what happens, if the universe can come in, and you never know, you might reach it. There was one year where I said, I would like to have 2 book deals in a few months, and the universe conspired in very strange ways to get me those 2 book deals. One of them wound up being a deal for my book that I already had written in another language, in another market. So that was a whole separate deal to translate one book I had already written into another language. So you never know what can happen. The universe can get quite creative. Then I would like you to create a vision box. I know a lot of people do vision boards, but I think it's good to do a vision box, because what I've learned in a lot of manifesting circles is that it's good to focus on what you want, but to also put it aside and let it go so that the universe can do its job and do its work. So if you find a box that you like and you write down these goals and the positive things of the previous year, and you put that in it, and maybe put some items that are important to you, or items that signify the goals you want to achieve. And you could also maybe write down a prayer or a mantra and put that in the box. You could also put down something that we do in Reiki. One of the things that we say is, just for today, do not worry. Just for today, I will have gratitude. And I think that's a nice addition you could put in your box. You can use that as a mantra as well. And just any kind of special items into a box that, you feel is nice and is somewhat fancy or special in some way. It's great if it has a lid. It's a way of closing it up. And then you want to spend 1 to 5 minutes every day, in the morning or the evening, preferably when you first wake up or when you're just about to go to sleep. Visualize your goals coming true. Go into the feeling of it, all the senses of it. How will you feel when they are achieved? What will it look like? What will the sounds be like? What will the taste be like? What will the touch? If you're at the beach and on vacation, what will that feel like to you? Try to go into the senses as much as possible. And say prayers, maybe say the mantras, do some breath work, watching your breath and just centering yourself. And then you want to close the lid and set it aside and let the universe do its work, do its job. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just let it be. And you could also do this twice a day. If you want to do it first thing in the morning and right before you go to bed, you could do it twice a day. That's fine. But just close the lid and let it be, and surrender it to the universe and let the universe work on it for the rest of the time. And this helps you to stay in touch with what you want every day. Remember that you have accomplished positive things in the previous year and you're capable of doing it again in the coming year. Remind you what your priorities are, what your goals are, and to spend 1 minute or 5 minutes every day for yourself and making sure you're staying on track to reaching the goals you want to reach, because far too often we come to December and realize there's 1,000,001 things we never did. But then just as often we'll realize that a lot of the stuff we had written down or had thought we wanted to accomplish that year, we really didn't. So when you pay attention to your goals every day like this, you're really in touch with what it is you want. And you know if something isn't feeling right. When you go in to do visualizations and you go into feeling it and you're sitting with it every day, you know pretty soon whether or not you're striving for goals that you really want personally for yourself or not. That becomes clear. So that's another key factor of why it's important to repeat this process every day. And surrendering it to the universe, learning how to let go of control, learning how to open space for the universe to do what it needs to do by putting it away. And it's also putting it away and closing it keeps it from other people. You don't need other people to be walking past it and seeing what your goals are and having their own judgments about it, or their own negativity or their own negative bias. Everybody has negative bias. It's just a survival mechanism, and you need to try and get your mind out of that. And this also helps you to do that because you're seeing positive things that you want to create. You're remembering the positive things that you have done. And the more you can get yourself into a positive bias instead of a negative one, the more you'll be able to manifest in your life and the happier overall you'll be. So, just to review, you want to center yourself, maybe watch your breath, maybe say a prayer or a mantra, review your goals for 1 minute to 5 minutes every morning and maybe every night too. And you want to visualize your goals, you want to feel them, you want to see them, you want to make them really vivid and real for you in your mind. And then you want to close the lid and put it away and surrender it to the universe and just let the universe do its work. When I asked for 2 book deals that year, I had no idea that the universe could provide a deal that way. It just was not, I was not trying to direct it all. I said, this would be great. I don't know how I would possibly do this and write 2 books at the same time, and the universe just came up with this great solution that I never even thought of. Just one day in the mail, there was an offer from my publisher to translate a new book deal, to translate the book into another market. So you never know. So it's good to just close the lid and let it go and sit with it once or twice a day. Develop that positivity bias. Remember your positive things that you have done. And as you review your goals, you will see what is really important to you and what is not. And you can change your goals anytime you see fit to. Anytime it doesn't feel right, a goal doesn't feel right, you can sit with it and ask yourself, where the goal came from, why you have it. Are you willing to just let it go now? Is it something that you're just not as excited about anymore and you're willing to just let it go? And that's perfectly fine. It's much better to do that throughout the year and shift and change into what you really want than to come to December, say, oh my goodness, I forgot about my goals completely. I didn't accomplish anything. And then to realize you didn't even really want to accomplish a lot of those goals anyway. And that might have been why you didn't. And to just feel like you've accomplished nothing and spiral down into that negativity bias again. So it just takes, you can do it in just even a minute a day, depending on how many goals you have. The fewer the goals, I think, the better, so you can focus more. And then maybe you can achieve them, and each quarter you'll have new goals. If they're really under your control and achievable, which they should be, then you could find yourself achieving new goals every quarter and having a lot of positive things to write down in December of 2019. So I hope you give it a try. You can find a nice box in a craft store or in a Barnes & Noble. They have a lot of those nice looking painted boxes for sale in the bookstores. And just find anything that speaks to you and just start creating your vision box. And if you happen to have Reiki training, as I do, you can put the Reiki healing symbols on them and put healing energy into the box. You could put crystals in the box. You could put anything you want. And you can use things from alternative therapy, healing, and all kinds of stuff like that. Whatever skill set you might have in that arena, you can add to it. Anything you want to bring more positive energy and focus to it, go for it.
Thank you for listening to Victoria's Nirvana. Subscribe and visit victorialynnravenwood.com to sign up for the newsletter.